Assalamualaikum. Hi everyone.
I'm from Bachelor of Chemical Engineering.
We'll guide you about level for professional engineering. People commonly know engineer, but what is professional engineer? Professional engineer is an engineer who has passed professional assessment examination, which known as PAE, and recognized as such by council after gaining 5 years of professional experience, whether working privately or employment of an engineering public organization. Education pathway. Before you enter Bachelor of Engineering, which are diploma, foundation, and also STPM or A level. After finish 4 years of engineering, go straight into workforce, and also to gain status of professional engineer, must at least have 3 years of practical work experience, and also pass professional assessment examination by BEM, which known as Board of Engineer Malaysia.
Why do engineers want to become PE? The answer will be, firstly, because it is leading accreditation related to engineer career and many more. Secondly, the path to licensure of PE also earlier begins in the final year of college. For the perspective view, we summarize it into 4 POV, which were client, employer, engineer, and on-staff. For the clients, it means you've got the credential to earn their trust. In the POV of the employers, it signals your ability to take on a higher level of responsibilities. Among the engineer, PE will demonstrate the technical competence, and for the on-staff, it addresses personal satisfaction and achievement due to acknowledgement from Board of Engineer Malaysia or BEM. PE or professional engineer brought prestige or title to own kinds. The title will demonstrate technical competence, professionalism, or ethics, which will elevate the degree of trust toward the client, employer, and colleagues. Besides, it will expand the career option outside the traditional corporate environment by enabling you to start your own business. For scenario example, to become an engineering consultant or private practitioner, a PE license is a mandatory. Not to forget, flexibility and safeguard against market force. PE title will provide greater job security during industry downsizing or outsourcing, as the qualification was recognized worldwide, allowing ones to use it not only restricted locally. Those with PE also stands a better project enrollment, with the qualification which also portray subtle addressability to work in a variety of industry, hence opening a broader opportunity for the engineers. For career advancement, it will distinguish credential on a resume, stand an opportunity to sit a position of responsible charge, having control and direction over engineering-related works, which means exhibited independent judgment, or in easy words, the engineer opinion was strictly being considered and convincing now. Capability is also internationally recognized as a registered professional, which indirectly means a high international mobility. It is also a reasonable ground to demand a better promotion or salary increment. Most of the engineers with PE reported to have highest paying and in-demand profession. PE is the leading accreditation related to engineer career, hence it currently with authority or requirement by company. Only a licensed engineer could sell engineering work for public and private clients, can sign, seal, submit plans and drawings to a public authority for approval, and last could oversee the private sector.
Who give recognition as professional engineer? Let's get started.
Professional qualification is a career-related qualification which usually involves some years of practical training. If PhD is considered as the type of academic qualification, professional qualification can be considered as the type of industrial qualification. Professional qualification in the engineering industry are as follows. The first one is professional engineer, which is awarded by the Board of Engineer Malaysia, also known as BEM. And the second one is Chartered Engineer. This award is given by Engineer Council United Kingdom. This qualification comes with the title abbreviation IR or PENG at the front and end of one's name respectively. Engineering sector in Malaysia is regulated by the Registration of Engineer Act 1967, which revised 2002. The Board of Engineer Malaysia is the guardian of engineering. Board of Engineer Malaysia is a statutory body who are responsible in the registration of engineer in Malaysia. They are the one who award the qualification professional engineer to each engineer who have met the requirement. To ensure that accredited engineering program satisfy the minimum academic requirement for registration as a graduate engineer with the Board of Engineer Malaysia (BEM), Engineering Accreditation Council, which also known as EEC, under supervision of Board of Engineering Malaysia, will evaluate the program or programs leading to the awards of engineering degree and accredit those programs which are adjudged as adequately preparing their graduates for registration as graduate engineer and entry into the profession. EAC is the coordinating body on accreditation. The representing or consists of Board of Engineer for the first one, and the second is the Institution of Engineer Malaysia (IEM). The third is Malaysia Qualification Agency (MQA), and Jabatan Perkhidmatan Awam Malaysia (JPA). Board of Engineer Malaysia use as a guide the list for professional chartered engineer by accreditation organization of the country where the degree is issued. candidates are advised to check with the relevant engineering accreditation body's website for the least recognized degree of professional chartered level. Board of Engineering Malaysia reserve the right to review the list at any time without notice, and intending candidates are advised to check with Board of Engineering Malaysia before further study on the list of accredited engineering program. This list will list university in Malaysia such as UiTM, UCSI. I provide the website for you guys to check for the accredited engineering program. You also need to check for recognition of overseas engineering degree. This list is for universities outside Malaysia. The recognition of engineering degree from overseas, either full-time or twinning, will be based on the accreditation given by professional body who are signatories of Washington Academy, such as the Institution of Engineers Australia, which a member since 1989, and you can read further at this website that I provide to you. You need to check for program accreditation before going to further study in engineering program, either it is accredited or not. And it is very important to you when you want to further or make professional engineer, because you need this accreditation. There are also qualification accredited or recognized by organization holding provisional status are not recognized by the signatories, such as Institution of Engineer, Bangladesh, IEB, Costa Rica, CFIA, Mexico, CACI, Peru, ICACIT, and Philippine Technological Council.
So let's get going with the elephant in the room. When do we need to become a professional engineer? When do we need to start on becoming a professional engineer? When would it be important for us to consider becoming a professional engineer? When? Let's take it simple and we'll discuss 5 main reasons when we should start on our professional engineering journey. They are: when you need to distinguish yourself among other engineers, when you need to advance your career as an engineer, when it becomes a requirement for your job, when you need flexibility and security on your career, and when you need to be recognized as an engineer. So 5 points on when you should start on this journey on becoming a professional engineer. Let's get going on with the first one out of the 5. So, our first point on when to become an engineer: when you need to distinguish yourself among other engineers. Distinguishing ourselves among others is quite important, especially when we want to acquire a job for ourselves, as we contend with thousands of others who seek the similar position we want. Acquiring a professional license puts us in a great spotlight for employers, as the license could signify our proof of our engineering degree, along with 3 years of working experience, and displays our ability or multidisciplinary understanding of physical and engineering principles. Tell me something that stands out more than that, eh? Furthermore, becoming a professional engineer naturally commands greater respect from the public, even more for the engineering community. Professional engineers are highly respected. So, when you need an edge on becoming the center stage among others, acquiring a professional engineering license will be a great way to go. Another win on becoming a professional engineer is when you need to advance your career as an engineer. We can't just be stuck in a single position for the rest of our lives. We should also progress our careers along the way. When progressing is a constant must, becoming a professional engineer will be a great leg up on our career ladders. This is because sometimes being a professional engineer can become a deciding factor on hiring or ways of position. Companies typically decide based on which candidate they believe will bring the most benefit to the company. Remember, a company reaps the benefits of the employee's PE license as much as you are having that license yourself. So having a professional license truly represents a win-win situation between you and your boss, or your soon-to-be boss. The American Society of Mechanical Engineers, or short for ASME, reports that in 2012, the median salary for a professional engineer is around $100,500. For those without a professional license, have a median salary of around $95,775. This clearly shows that professional engineer has an upper edge against engineers in general in terms of salary. To add, those who are professional engineers with a specialty boost their salary to around $110,300. It is a no-brainer if you feel like improving and advancing your career. Go ahead and make yourself as a professional engineer. Next on our list on when to become a professional engineer, when becoming a professional engineer becomes a requirement for your job. Eventually, on your upward trend on your career ladder, you'll soon end up to a position that requires a professional license. These positions usually require greater responsibility and experience. For example, when a position requires you to sign, approve, and seal engineering plans, only a professional engineer can sign, seal, and submit plans and drawings. Professional engineers are also able to oversee work in private sectors or serve as a fully qualified expert witness. Besides that, many government agencies and academic institutions emphasize the importance of a PE license. So, I couldn't stress more on how important a professional license is when you need to climb that professional ladder. Being a PE opens doors and opportunities to higher positions that require great responsibility and experience. Having talked on opening doors, how about securing those doors? A PE license is needed when you decide that you need flexibility and security on your career as an engineer. Sometimes the industry may take a hit with an uncertain economy, and your workplace might be hit with downsizing or outsourcing resources and assets. Employees could be downsized and outsourced. So, as a way to ensure your job security is to increase and prove your worth in your company or industry. A PE license provides better job security in industry as you could provide more and thus are much more respected and valued. Furthermore, a professional license also could help on expanding your career to outside the traditional corporate environment by enabling you to start your own business, whether it is to open your own consultancy firm or become a private practitioner. Being a professional engineer is a requirement. So, when you need to secure yourself with a much more confident future, work ahead and get a professional license to become a professional engineer. Finally, on our last point, when you need to be recognized as an engineer. Being recognized as an engineer has its perks. Imagine opening your own consultancy firm and you as the owner could not legally call yourself as an engineer. That wouldn't help on business, you can trust me. Having the legal rights to call yourselves an engineer is important. and only professional engineers have the right to designate themselves as engineers. This includes identifying yourself as an engineer in official documents, such as business cards, letterheads, and resumes. So, when you need to extend your name a bit longer and much more professionaler, go get yourself a professional license. So, that's on when you should become a professional engineer. We've got you covered. Recap on the whens. Number 1, when you need to distinguish yourself among other engineers, when you need to advance your career as an engineer, when it becomes a requirement for your job, when you need flexibility and security on your career as an engineer, and when you need to be recognized as an engineer.
Some people must be wondering how to become professional engineer. Here we go to the details. With Professional Assessment Examination (PAE), a registered graduate engineer is only eligible to sit for the Professional Assessment Examination (PAE) after he or she has fulfilled the requirement of Regulation 22 of Registration of Engineer, Regulation of 1990, that is, has obtained at least 3 years practical experience as prescribed under Regulation 22, Registration of Engineers, Regulation 1990, revised under 2015. Professional Assessment Engineer (PAE) divided into 2 categories. Firstly, Graduate Engineer GE as prescribed under Section 10(1)(a) of the Registration of Engineers Act 1967, revised under 2015. The second one is Graduate Engineer who holds a professional qualification which the board considers to be equivalent to the PAE conducted by board or Road B. Professional Assessment Engineer. For Graduate Engineer, firstly, they will having a professional assessment interview. This assessment will be asked about your design experience, understanding, field experience, the degree of exposure, management experience, and also your communication skills, which must have ability to communicate, and then maturity of thought, able to focus on material issue rather than personal. Professional responsibility, capable to responsible and not to blame others. Ethical judgment, which must have integrity and awareness on engineering sustainability, health and safety. And then the second one is write 2 essays, answer 1 out of 2 questions there. And then section A related to the candidates training and their experience. There will be technical aspect or report to test knowledge, and also sound engineering, basic and professionalism. It must showing that you can apply that in practice and theory, and understand the fundamental process of research, investigation, planning, analysis, design, and construction. And also section B, there are code of ethics. There will be BEM regulation, Board of Engineers Malaysia, of professional conduct, having a good understanding of professional code of conduct and role of engineer in society. And then ethical judgment support by sound and cogent argument. Understand the question clearly. Candidate will be given 1 hour 30 minutes for each written paper. So the total of 2 essays will be 3 hours Section A, Basic Engineering, submitted by report. Section B, Ethics. There are 13 topics BEM regulation on Code of Professional Conduct. When writing an essay, do not write irrelevant statement, inconclusive situation, or unsure work. Professional Assessment Engineer for Road B, they will consist of assessment on Code of Professional Conduct based on Registration of Engineers Act 1967 revised under 2015. Checklist for PAE. First, form PAE 1, explanation of practical experience. Second, form PAE 2, which is declaration. Copy degree of engineering and full transcript. Endorsed by PE with same branch. And the third one is copy letter of registration for graduate engineer. Proof payment, online banking or cash deposit to BEM. An explanation of practical experience not less than 1 year by using company letterhead. There are 2 reports, work experience report, project report, 2 copies for each report, endorsed by PE with the same branch. BM form PAE 2 attached together with report. And then the soft copy of the report email to pca@bm.org.my. Application form can be downloaded from BM Board of Engineering website. This is the example checklist that needed to be complete and submitted. Form PAE1, total period is calculated from the data REG. The description of practical training and working experience must be clear, concise, and properly categorized as per format given. Sample letter of registration for graduate engineer. Get it from BEM Board of Engineering Malaysia. This is sample of full transcript. The official transcript needed in the checklist for PAE, Professional Assessment Examination. Company letterhead, endorsement, and PE signature in the form of original. Preparation of report consists of work experience report and project report. For project report, the copy of project report printed on A4, supporting sheets, calculation, table, chart and diagram or drawing certified. Include one or more design work, feasibility study, research and development work, operation maintenance work, and others. Every bit of a plane has been touched by engineers, a whole team of engineers. Mechanical engineer design engine. Mechatronic engineer devise the controls. Fuel extracted by mining engineer. Refining by chemical engineer. Electrical and software engineer create navigation system.
Let's have a peek on how to become PE from the pathway of Chartered Engineer. Route for a professional engineer from an overseas regulatory body or Chartered Engineer. Retrieve from the BEM official website. Firstly, the applicants need not sit and pass the professional assessment examination or be corporate member of IEM. Secondly, applicants shall submit to BEM a certified latest professional engineer certificate issued by a regulatory body of the other country. Thirdly, the professional engineer status shall be checked that is equivalent to BEM's professional engineer qualification eligibility. Fourthly, the applicant is not entitled to be registered as a professional engineer if at any time prior to his registration there exists any fact or circumstance which will have entitled the disciplinary committee to cancel his registration pursuant to Section 15 of the Registration of Engineer Act 1967, which were revised by 2015. Fifthly, the summary of practical experience shall not less than 3 years using company letterhead certified by a PE in the same branch of engineering at which the applicant did his practical experience. Last but not least, has complied with the requirement as determined by the board.
Do people easily believe that a person already has a professional engineer, or do they easily can use such title without any rules and procedure? No, they can't. So need to be a corporate member of the Institution of Engineer Malaysia, IEM. IEM is a professional learned society for promoting and advancing all aspects of engineering. It was formed in 1959 and was admitted a member of Commonwealth Engineer Council in 1962. The corporate member of the institution can apply to the Board of Engineers Malaysia (BEM) for registration as professional engineer, which will entitle him to set up practice.
Then the location for headquarters of IEM at Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Darul Ihsan, Malaysia.
The governing body of IEM is the Council, headed by the President. the affairs of the Council are carried out by the Executive Committee comprising the President, Deputy President, 7 Vice President, Honorary Secretary, Honorary Treasurer, and 5 members elected from the Council. Operations are supported by the full-time Secretariat. Membership of the institution is currently about 45,000 and the growth rate is about 10% per annum, making it one of the largest professional organizations in the country. In order to support the need of members, the IEM has 8 standing committees to attend to the different administrative functions of the institution. To support the multidisciplinary needs of engineering practice, there are 16 technical divisions and 4 special interest groups to look after and to organize activities for different disciplines. There is also a young engineer section and women engineer section that cater exclusively to the younger members and women engineer respectively. The vision of IEM is this institution of engineer, Malaysia, aim to be the premier land engineering society, championing the adoption of ethics and professional best practice in all sectors of the industry. Next, we continue with mission. IEM shall promote the sound professional engineering practice in support of the socio-economic development objective of the nation. Second, service the need and interests of its member and the public and uphold the society's standing image in the engineering profession. Next is contribution toward nation building and shall strive to enhance society consciousness of science and technology. Next, I want to share about the objective of the work of this institution, IEM. The objective of the institution is as set out in the Constitution shall includes first, to hold meeting, exhibition and visit, and such other activities as the institution may deem incidental or conducive to the promotion or attainment of the profession of engineering. Second, to raise the character and status and advance the interest of the profession of engineering and those engaged. Third is to promote honorable practice and professional ethics among members of the institution. The next objective is to communicate the members information on all matters affecting the profession of engineering and to print, publish, issue and circulate such publication as may seem conducive to any of the objectives of the institution. And the last objective for IEM is to do such other thing as the institution may think incidental or conducive to the attainment of the objective of the institution. That's for IEM. Secondly, they has to comply with the requirement as determined by the board as follow. The first has obtained 3 years practical experience as specified in Regulation 22(1), which shall including the following: at least 2 years of general training that will provide a sound basis for professional development, and at least 1 year of professional career development and training, providing wide exposure to the various managerial and technical expertise in engineering practice, where at least 1 year of the above training must be obtained in Malaysia under the supervision of a professional engineer in the same branch of engineering as the practice by the graduate engineer. Professional engineer in other related branch of engineering may be accepted with the prior approval of the boards. This means when you need to undergo industrial training in the same branch, where if I am a graduate from chemical engineer, I can't do a practical in electrical engineering. There will be, but need some requirement.
Comparing locally and broadly, BEM uses as a guide the list for professional or chartered engineer by accreditation organizations of country where the degree is issued. The recognition of engineering degree from overseas, whether full-time or trainee, will be based on the accreditation given by professional bodies who are signatories of Washington Accord. Source from Ahmad Sabri's Facebook and the Age Markets. One Malaysian reveals how local engineers are underpaid as compared to fresh graduates in Japan. Ahmad Sabri, a Malaysian who lived in Japan for more than a decade, returned to Malaysia with his family as he wanted to give back to the country. However, in the process of doing so, he discovered how underpaid Malaysian professionals are compared to fresh graduates in Japan. On 16 August 2020, Ahmad revealed how local professionals are getting paid. Ahmad then posed a question: are Malaysians underpaid or are the Japanese overpaid? Malaysian professionals working locally are underpaid for all the job responsibilities they are expected to accomplish. Ahmad Sabri then compared the living expenses in Malaysia as opposed to Japan. Let's say the place of work is at Puchong, where the cost of living is high despite being far away from the city. Then he continued to break down all the living expenses that needed to be taken into consideration. Then compared to cost living in Japan. Living costs are higher in Japan, but the job scope is less and the salary is higher. Do you think local professionals are underpaid in Malaysia? Share your thoughts with us in the comments.
is among 4 of the engineer branches that offer in UiTM Shah Alam, which were chemical, mechanical, civil and electrical engineering. Till 11 December of 2021, EM recorded more than 21 million registered professional engineers in the mechanical engineering branch, 1,412 from electrical branch, and 2,105 from civil branch, and last 235 registered professional engineers in the chemical engineering branch. Here are some frequently asked questions. Referring to official BEM websites, ever wonder, are BEM and IEM the same? The answer is no. BEM, Board of Engineers Malaysia, is different from IEM. BEM is a government body that regulates the registration of engineers in Malaysia, while IEM is a professional body or learned society for engineers. Secondly, I was a previous member who lost touch with the institution a long time ago. How do I rejoin? If your name has been erased due to non-payment of subscription, you have to apply for reinstatement. For reinstatement, you have to pay all the arrears due to the institution since the last payment before you lost touch. Plus a processing fee of 100 ringgit. The Constitution and bylaws do not provide any exemption or discount for reinstatement. The recent move by the Education Ministry to standardize engineering degree at public and private institutions for 4 years had received positive feedback. How do communities see this as a positive move? It is not a question of 4 years or 5 years. The study period 8 semesters is 14 weeks minimum and the syllabus, and the most crucial is there are more than 40 branches of engineering specialization. Are Malaysia aware and receptive to the change happening in the engineering world? Yes, IEM is constantly updating the recognition list and also the discipline. In Malaysia, we have more than 70 branches.